We recently took a trip to San Francisco's Nob Hill. We spent one night at the famous and elegant Fairmont Hotel, then got up the next day to find what might remain of the Nob Hill Mansions that were destroyed in the 1906 devastating earthquake. So I'm standing at the Fairmont. This is the John Hopkins. That's where the top of the mark is. This is the flood mansion. It's one of the only mansions that survived the earthquake and the fire because it was made of stone, along with the Fairmont. But the Fairmont wasn't even open yet. It was being built and it got gutted from the fire. And so its opening was delayed by a year. That's the Hotel Huntington. And I think that wasn't the Crocker Mansion originally. I can't remember whose mansion that was sitting there. I have to re-look it up. But on the other side here is Huntington Park, and that's where the Huntington Mansion was, and they donated the land to the city. So let's go take a look at that, because the foundations of the mansion supposedly are still there. Let's take a step back before we go on our venture. Today, we know Nob Hill as the home of some of San Francisco's ritziest hotels and one of its finest cathedrals called Grace Cathedral. Its reputation as home for the wealthy elite is the result of the founders of the Central Pacific Railroad, collectively known as the Associations, or the Big Four. The Big Four built their mansions on the hill in the mid to late 19th century. By 1900, all of the Big Four had passed away, and the mansions had passed to their heirs or other hands. But on April 18th, 1906, the Great Earthquake struck San Francisco. Fire swept across Nob Hill, leaving destruction in its wake. All of the Big Four mansions were destroyed, and elegant hotels, a park, and a grand cathedral were built in their place. So we're on such a steep hill on Nob Hill here that Huntington started the California line of the trolley system because the horses and carriages had such a hard time getting up the hill. So we're looking at the California line right now that takes you up Nob Hill. And as you can see, as it goes down, it is pretty dang steep. And it goes down to Chinatown, which is like just right here. It's not far at all. And then again, there's the top of the mark. And we're going to try to go into the bar. It's a very special historic bar that's up on, I believe it's the 15th floor. I wasn't able to get reservations, and God knows I've tried. They probably leave the reservations for the people staying in that hotel. But we're staying right across the street. And right through there, you can see the Bay Bridge. And there's the Grace Cathedral. The land was donated to them after the Crocker Mansion burnt down. Was it the Crocker? Yes, the Crocker Mansion burnt down. And it's one of the largest, if not the largest, cathedral here in California. And it was an Episcopal denomination. So we're walking towards the cathedral. You can hear the bells ringing. It's noon. So again, this is the flood mansion, the only mansion that survived. So basically what happened is that the earthquake hit, and these pretty much all these mansions survived. But then the fire came through and just destroyed them. And so any mansions that were made of wood didn't survive. This one, as you can see, is stone. The Fairmont, stone, so that survived even though it was in the process of being built. And then this is the Hopkins Hotel, and so this is where the Hopkins Mansion was, Mark Hopkins Mansion. they had probably the most opulent of all the mansions, the pictures I've seen of it, but it got totally destroyed. And then you can see on the top, you can see the top of the mark up there. And so that's what we're going to try to get into later on this afternoon. And the Fairmont, the Hopkins. Its garage is named after the Crockers, one of the big four. So just on the other side of the Flood Mansion is Huntington Park, and supposedly these foundations here are the original foundations of the Huntington Mansion, what's left of it from the earthquake. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't know. You're the builder. Do you think?
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it?
That's a retaining wall.
So, well, there's supposed to be still some features of the mansion here, so let's see if we can find something a little more modern.
I bet if you go up the stairs, you might find something.
Yeah, so we'll go into the park and check it out. And then this is the Huntington Hotel, but this wasn't where their mansion was, it's where the park is. Last time I heard, the hotel's defunct.
Pardon me.
Because it went into bankruptcy and is owned by the bank now.
Missed a dog in the rain.
So this right here, this plaque says that the general contributions of Huntington Park was by the Herbert family, so maybe to build the park, but the property was given to them by the Huntingtons, and this is where their mansion stood.
You've obviously done your research.
I have done my research. What does this one say?
Oh, it's another very wealthy donor.
Oh, yeah, see, this is just talking about the donors of the park. So, and see, it's right next to the cathedral here. So let's go
Be
and
very
check it out
careful. These are granite steps.
before it starts raining again.
Slippery, slippery, slippery.
So that fountain, I believe, was donated by the Huntingtons, that it actually stood in their mansion, and that they, like, it was one of the things that only survived, but I'm going to double check on that. But several of these fountains, it might say on here. Well, this right here, this fountain says, you can see the flood
James
mansion
Flood.
right there. And so I think this fountain was donated by the Floods. It's pretty cool.
No relation to the rainstorm.
Yeah, the major rainstorm that we've been having here. So it says flood donor. So there you go. So it's carved. They carved it right in that they were the donor in 1942. Mrs.
Gonna get credit for that.
Yeah.
Dancing children.
Boy, she was going to make sure they got credit. And this is
This
James
one's
Flood.
bigger. Let's see who carved their name.
All right. So let's go over here. Does it say who the donor is? I believe it was
Got a little more of a Neptune theme to it.
Right. It's a copy of a very famous fountain that is in Rome. I'll put the name on the screen. But it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I believe that this was donated by Mrs. Huntington.
Yeah, I like the little turtles that they're placing up top with their hands.
Well, the name in Italian is like the Fountain of the Turtles or
Is that
something.
his penis?
Grace Cathedral.
Well, to him it was really important to get married.
So the Grace Cathedral, I'm standing in Huntington Park, so it expands all over here. It took many years to build this, and these doors are very famous.
Bingo.
So the cathedral is known for its stained glass. They do tours. We probably aren't going to have time, but if you really look at that stained glass. I wish it was a sunny day because then it would be a lot better to get a picture, but you can see how detailed. I mean, look how detailed that is. It must be gorgeous inside. So now the Stanford, where the Stanford mansion is around the corner here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to find it, but it's the Stanford Court now, or it turned into, they built an apartment building. And then that apartment building got turned into a hotel. And supposedly part of the Stanford Mansion's walls are still there. I don't know, somebody told me that this was part of where the gates were for the Huntington Mansion, and the stairs too. But I'm gonna have to look up and see if that's true. I mean, when I look at this, there is some damage to it, but you know, that could have been recent. You know, here's some damage here, but I don't know, we'll find out. So, but I do know that the Stanford, where the Stanford Mansion is, some of the walls are still there. You can see how high up we are here in Nob Hill by seeing the rest of the city down below. So this is the Huntington Hotel in front of me, which is not where their mansion was. And again, last time I read, this was defunct, and it used to have some really nice restaurants in it, some famous restaurants. There's the Mark Hopkins, and then just the corner of the Fairmont right there. All right, so this is huge, the Grace Cathedral. It goes back into there. I believe it's from the sky. I believe that it is shaped in a cross, like a traditional cathedral. But we're going to go in and check out to see about the tours that they have. But it's very cool.
It doesn't look like they use those doors anymore.
Let's go up and check them out. There's supposed to be a replica of, I believe, a famous work of Michelangelo. There's a cable car, so you can see it goes right past here. And then this it looks like a Masonic lodge, because it says dedicated to the Masonic
Brethren
who died in the cause of freedom. So you can see it's got a beautiful view of, there's the Huntington, the Mark, the Hopkins, there's the Flood Mansion, on the other side is the Fairmont, down below is Chinatown, and here's Huntington Park. So let's look at these doors.
These doors are beautiful.
All those are gorgeous, aren't they?
Careful, once again, granite steps.
Yeah, it's just really wet right now.
Like walking on your countertop.
I just had that foot surgery. Oh, those are gorgeous. Those are amazing.
Get the heads up top.
The detail is just amazing. Look at that. So the Big Four restaurant is named after the four moguls that built their mansions here. Basically railroad moguls and Comstock mine moguls. This has a good view of the top of the Mark from here. Beautiful view up there. Maybe not today though. Okay, so what I was told was this was where the gate was. The fencing for the mansion for the Huntington Mansion.
That's believable.
And so that's why this is supposed to
I
be,
saw more down there.
you know. I mean, here's one. Here was the corner.
Yeah, but you were
Yeah.
talking about a foundation.
No, not a, well, I said foundation, but I didn't mean it. No, this was,
Yeah, I believe it.
this
Probably
was
had
the
a fence up.
fencing. This was, this whole thing was the fencing for the Huntington Mansion at Huntington Park. So, back to the Fairmont. Around 4:30, the top of the mark there is supposed to open up. Maybe we'll try to get in. It's just been miserable weather here in the Bay Area. There's just flooding going on everywhere, so we're kind of good that we're on Nob Hill, that we're up high, because everywhere is like flooding.
On your left.
All right. So, that's pretty impressive.
Mom, I'm home.
It's the Fairmont, the white building.
We'll be having our drinks on the veranda, my love.
And then that's the Fairmont Tower behind it. Oh. So we're walking down the hill. There's the Stanford Court. So this is where the Stanford Mansion was. It was once apartments after the mansion was demolished after the earthquake, and then it was converted into a hotel. And so there's the the Hopkins Hotel, top of the mark, and here is the Fairmont.
He's got the fence on top, maybe.
What was that? So the fence, so this, yeah, see there was a fence. There was a fence here. Wait, let me look around the corner here. So this wall is probably what's left of the mansion. Look at this wall. So, and you can see how steep it is here, and why he put in the cable car. I mean, look how steep this is. Finally, the sun came out for us. And you hear that sound? That's the cables going up and down the, going through these right here. So we're thinking that this is, original. Because they said that there's still some of it that is, you can see where the wrought iron fence used to be, all up and down this. So I also was told that you can see some of the scorch marks from the fire on some of this old stuff. See, there's the cathedral, there's the Fairmont. So be on the lookout for some scorch marks. Yeah, well, you can see how this was, added onto right here. Like it got knocked down and put back up or something.
In various areas.
Yeah, so that's where the wrought is. So, yeah, this seems like it's the original. I mean, it's completely different than the construction of the building. But I want to see, this is kind of ironic, huh? It's what took it out was fire. But yeah, here's some more of the holes all up and down this. So, if you have any further information about this, put it down in the comments. It's like this was reconcreted
Last
in.
time it was renovated must have been the early 80s because it's all got aluminum windows.
Right, yeah, and I think it was.
We don't use those anymore. Really.
Interesting. No. It's a Fairmont car coming. So, what do you think?
Yeah, it was a corner monument, probably like that.
Yeah. I'm very curious. And then this wall, maybe? But this is part of the, this is, so that's the John Hopkins, top of the marks there.
Well, it at least went to this cornerstone.
Yeah.
I can't say anything past that.
And I mean, it went quite a ways. And if you look down there, there's even more monuments down there. You see them?
Yeah, just this land alone today is $100 million.
Oh God, yeah, if not more. So now it's a hotel. It's very interesting. Huh. Oh. So, is this scorch marks? That could very well be scorch marks. I mean, to me, that's what that looks like. But it might be from tires. But it's a lot of tires. You don't see it anyplace else except for right there.
Our bull box.
Yeah, it is an
How
old
it's
pipe.
been converted over the years.
Yeah, and then this goes straight down there too. So we're gonna go check out the Huntington Hotel to see what's going on with it. I'm pretty sure it's closed. It went into bankruptcy and is owned by the bank. But I also heard that somebody bought it and is redoing it, but I'm not sure about that. The front mansion, only remaining mansion since the earthquake. This is like little.
Got its own address.
So there's like this little house in the middle of everything. Just that's it, right there. That yellow. that's the place.
I'll bet you a little place.
It's probably what, like $10 million.
Nah, but it probably commands around 4.
So this is the Huntington, and definitely it's closed down. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, a little renovation project.
All the vines up the building are all dead. Nothing's being watered except this. But that's box. What do you call that box? Something. You don't
They're
need.
probably going to cut the vines off the hotel. Like
Yeah.
Usually you don't have ivy on them.
But I mean, look at this. It's a beautiful structure, but it's like everything's dead.
Be a good place to look for ghosts.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at that right there. Very cool. So, let's take a closer look at this. So, this used to have some really nice restaurants in it.
Yeah.
Like famous restaurants. Yeah, it's definitely closed.
Cool hotel.
Oh, what a shame. It's a historical landmark.
It'll reopen. You see the tile inlay down here?
It's definitely pretty inside.
Sweetie.
What's that?
See the tile medallion down there?
Oh yeah, the Huntington
Stuck in the home.
1924 hotel. So this is right across the street from the Huntington Park. That was probably the ballet. Oh. Oh. Look at this. Look at this here. Look at this architecture. I mean, that's beautiful. Look at all this. What a shame. Beautiful. So, what was this? Preferred Hotel Resort, the Lux, I guess it was called. So, this was a famous restaurant. The Big Four, talking about the 4 rich guys who built their mansions up here. You know, the 4 railroad magnates.
Right there.
Oh yeah, there you go.
The door. Everything.
This was a famous restaurant. Very sad.
Wait.
Oh, I love these faces on the structure. Oh, the Huntington Hotel. Nobody around. These outshoots right here are cool. Seems to be a lot more people in Huntington Park than there was when we were there, probably because it's not raining.
Got home from work, gotta walk your dogs. All been locked in apartments all day long. Hotel.
Yes, it is. So there's the penthouse up there. You see that? It comes with its own maid and butler and cook.
As it should.
And it's something like 18,000 a night. Something like that. So there's Hotel Huntington.